Some stunning breaking news. UCLA parting ways with defensive coordinator Ikaika Malloe. Just a year after he did some good stuff for UCLA, his UCLA tenure is done.
You are Locked On UCLA, your daily podcast on the UCLA Bruins. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome, everybody, to this edition of Locked On UCLA Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Anderson-Yoxsimer. Thanks for making this show your first listen each and every day. It's free wherever your podcast and it's available on YouTube. Like, comment, subscribe, download. Thanks for your support. Welcome back, everydayers. What we're talking about today, Ikaika Malloe, UCLA's defensive coordinator, in his second year as the DC at UCLA. It was announced by Tim Skipper that he's parting ways. The various outlets from Bruin Report Online, LA Times, Pete Family, it's been everybody getting out in on the action when it comes to, hey, wait a minute. Tim Skipper comes out and immediately says during his opening remarks, yeah, we've parted ways with Ikaika Malloe. And remember, this is a guy in Malloy who's been around since 2022. And since he's been around, there's been an uptick in stronger defensive play. Think about this. When you went with the late Bill McGovern, then you had Danton Lynn, then you had Ikaika Malloe taking over. All those years, Malloy was on staff. And even last year, UCLA had a pretty strong run defense when they had just some semblance of talent. Finding out, Carson Schlesinger can play. Maneuvering ways for Femi Oladejo to be good. Having that relationship with Latu, and then he was unleashed into destroying defenses. And who is the guy who's helping on that D-line when UCLA's D-line was good? Think of Ikaika Malloe, who's helped as an analyst, been important, been very passionate, and then was last year nominated for the Broyles Award for college football's top assistant coach as one of them. A nomination last year, a guy that probably could have gotten paid elsewhere to coach and decided to stick here. And unfortunately, it's no longer the case with him having been here through the 2022 season, 23, getting his chance to stand out as 2024. The one-time co-defensive coordinator at Washington, and just unfortunate because now for Ikaika Malloe, despite all the passion, he truly cared about how UCLA was doing in their dark days, starting last year in 2024, and just having to see the transition from the regimes. It speaks a lot to all the coaching changes that happened from Chip Kelly to Deshaun Foster, and that Coach Malloy is one of those guys that stayed, but the defense was so bad that maybe just a change of scenery, something here in 2025, either to not ruin his career because the defense isn't going to get any better, but from what I've read, it's so far looking like a collaborative effort, which means there's not really an interim defensive coordinator. But this is the kind of the numbers, the ideas of Tim Skipper. This is his career background, the interim head coach for UCLA. So UCLA's interim head coach has defensive coordinating experience at Western New Mexico back in 2002 and defensive coordinating experience at Sacramento State in 04 and 05. And he was one of the lead defensive run game coordinators at Fresno State 09 to 2011, while being a defensive coordinator coaching the linebackers at UNLV in 2018 to 2019. And then obviously going to Central Michigan, Fresno State, interim head coach at Fresno State, leading them to a bowl win and a 7-7 record in the 14 games he coached at Fresno. So Tim Skipper does have a defensive mindset, does have a defensive background. He did coach running backs at Fresno State. So if you're continuing with the trend of running back coaches coaching UCLA, technically goes with that. But now you wonder, is this where Jethro Franklin's going to come in? Coach me. Who else? Gabe Lynn. Are they all going to come together and make a game plan? But that's also kind of Skipper, more of a defensive-minded guy, can help him make some decisions there. So I wonder, what's the defense going to look like? Is it going to be completely different? Is it just, hey, we're trying to save your career for Coach Malloy, that the numbers don't get so bad that it just sullies his name in terms of, because the defense has no talent on the D-line. That's just the case. Or was it so bad schematically with them being out of position game one, just getting bullied on simple schemes running almost north and south, literally, against the D line, and they couldn't get any stop, that it was Ikaika's fault. But seeing when they just had a little bit of competency defensively, when they had some NFL talent, what UCLA was able to do with no D-line talent last year and almost no talent in the cupboard this year. And that's not necessarily Coach Malloy's fault. That's what's been going there. They've had so many different defensive coordinators that how are you supposed to maintain relationships and recruit from year to year, and that by the time Coach Malloy finally gets to be the UCLA coach in his second year, returning for the first time since Coach Azzanaro, since almost COVID, it's after 3 games. Now, I'm not sure if this is a blessing in disguise for Malloy or just we're cutting bait with everything. But this is interesting that they make it now, coming out of the bye week, having a fresh new identity. It's clearly not fair to do that to Tino Sunseri after 3 games. You got to give him a full season to kind of figure things out with Nico Imaleava and just display what he has for offensive coordinating abilities. But Coach Malloy, only 2 years, not even 2 years at UCLA as the official defensive coordinator, and I think he ran the defense, during the bowl game and everything. So important for UCLA to figure things out moving forward. I wonder if this is going to lead to any improvements. I don't know if they'll be vastly improved as much as Tim Skipper can be energetic and change things because they were dominated. New Mexico ran for 300 yards on them. Illinois put up yards on them. Utah put up 43 points on them. Teams have put up 30 points on UCLA every week in the first 3 games, and 2 of those were against Mountain West teams. And UCLA was just not competitive for large portions of those games. So maybe it's the right move, maybe it's not, but they are cutting bait and they're trying to make a new atmosphere in the rest of the 2025 season because they want to be competitive and respectable. They want to be a team that we can watch. I'm not sure that'll be the case for the most of the games going down the rest of the 2025 season, but if they want to be competitive, change things, let's see what Tim Skipper can do. This is a bye week. If you want to make changes, this is the opportune time because the college football calendar dictates you get 2 byes this year. In 2024, you did, and in 2025, you have 2 byes baked in to a 12-game regular season for a 14-week college football season. So it's huge that UCLA gets to do this before Big Ten play and can maybe throw Northwestern some surprises and surprise them coming off a bye. Be like, hey, this is what we're adding in. New wrinkles, new players, maybe trying to get somebody in new spots, changing things to make them look a little more competitive moving forward in this UCLA football season. But it is kind of stunning to see Ikaika Malloe pretty much on the second day of practice that's open to everybody for this bye week that UCLA is making significant changes after the firing of Deshaun Foster. All right. Stay tuned for more episodes, more talking with Steve Wiltfong, a couple episodes releasing. We got more coach talk, head coaching talk. We're going to talk Tony White. I'll talk some Jonathan Smith with Locked On Spartans, Tony White with Brian Smith of Locked On Seminoles. In future episodes, you're going to want to stay tuned and stick around. See, what coaches do you like from what these guys are saying? Who's got the realistic possibility of coming to UCLA? Who can get the resources, the support? Is it an alum? Is it a SoCal local? Is it a young and up-and-comer? Those are all things to decide. While UCLA is making changes in the interim and in the present, we still got to look forward. Who's making those decisions? Is it not Martin Drummond? Is it, we got to discuss those things and listen. We got to let fun stuff coming up soon on this Locked On UCLA channel, and we'll talk about it more coming up soon. Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. So if you're pulling off and organizing your finances and put them off, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, and you can link all your accounts in minutes, seeing clear data visuals, smart categorization of your spending, and can finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. For me, I don't like spreadsheets. I'm not the best financial brain, so I always get nagged by my mother. And then next thing you know, I'm like, what am I doing? I'm not maximizing my investments. Well, that's where Monarch Money comes in. Helps you, helps me, and you don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code LOCKEDONCollege at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. Again, that's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONCollege. Also, if there's any doubt that Tim Skipper was the right man for the job in terms of interim head coach, leading this team and the rest of this program, just the ability to talk to media, the changes, the sweeping changes UCLA is making just tells you how much and how quickly the downfall of this UCLA program in just the short time for Deshaun Foster from the offseason to now, from the excitement, the potential of a Nico, a new offensive coordinator, everything. And then it just went downhill. Closing practice, now Tim Skipper opening things up, telling me, just kind of being open and honest. And maybe this is kind of a UCLA administrative thing as a whole. Maybe it's not a full Tim Skipper decision. Maybe it's like, hey, let's change things. We've seen the bad, negative light. We've seen it all. We've got to change things and be open and honest about what this team is doing. And especially because with the transfer portal and everything, everybody's going to wonder, hey, are these guys going to leave? Are they going to leave in redshirt in their 3 to 4 games right now with the coach being fired in this season? So they're trying to be open, honest, transparent, and be clear. Dictate what's going on with UCLA football. There's clearly a new energy, a louder, more charismatic coach at this moment in Tim Skipper, and we'll see if that leads to UCLA getting some wins. But just wanted to reiterate that, man, this is seeming like a good guy to lead the Bruins for the rest of the season and hopefully get UCLA a win or two in this 2025 season. Maybe they'll surprise and get 1 or 2 surprises, but for now, I believe this is a guy that can get UCLA 1 or 2, and we'll see what it looks like under Tim Skipper moving forward with the energetic opening remarks and continuing on for UCLA. But the big news, Ikaika Malloe, UCLA part ways, according to Tim Skipper, mutually parting ways with the program. Comes out and says it. Doesn't have to tell anybody else. Just, this is exactly what's going on. And it's forefront right there for everybody to see, everybody to hear. That's impressive. And I like what this is going and where this is headed. Hands up, Bruins fans. 8 clap time, baby. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. UCLA. UCLA fight, fight, fight. This has been Locked On UCLA. Zach signing off. Go Bruins.